Conquer them or deter them. Those are Israel's two options when it comes to Hamas. Or so says Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who claims that he's trying to maximize the length of any truce with the Palestinian militant group before calling off his airstrikes across Gaza. It is the fourth time in 12 years that Israel and Hamas have gone to war in this way. And this time, Israel's leader says that carrying on until Hamas is conquered is, quote, an open possibility. But who is paying the price for that? Gaza health officials say that at least 64 children are now among more than 200 Palestinians who've been killed since last Monday. Entire families wiped out in an instant. In Israel, 12 have died due to Hamas rockets, including a 5-year-old boy. Injuries number far higher as pressure builds on international diplomatic efforts to engineer a ceasefire, including now by the US President Joe Biden, pushing for an end to the fighting in slightly stronger terms. Egypt and Jordan's efforts appear to be gaining some momentum, and France has now called for a UN Security Council resolution on the violence. It has led some to hope, ever so cautiously, an end might be in sight. But the deep-seated problems that have led us to here tonight won't be solved quickly, even once the bombs and the rockets have stopped falling. And anyhow, Prime Minister Netanyahu has said late today that he is determined to carry on. We spent the day talking to a veteran Palestinian who has an answer to conquer and deter. Commuter traffic passed a smouldering tyre near Ramallah, a symbol, if you like, of the state of siege that has long been the normal in the occupied Palestinian territories. And a leftover of yesterday's day of action, all across this state in waiting, rendered less viable every year by Israel's policies. Amid all the slaughter in Gaza and the rockets lobbed against Israel by Hamas, the biggest point is that the Palestinians have reminded Israel and the world that they and their cause are going nowhere.
This latest upsurge, this latest rebellion, as I call it, and the sense of solidarity among Palestinians everywhere is a real game changer. In a sense, it signals a new era in Palestinian activism, in Palestinian even political thinking. And it signals that there is something different this time that tells people that you can take matters into your own hands, that you can be not passive victims, but active shapers of the future.
Hanan Ashrawi is the grande dame of the Palestinian cause. We met her in her office in Ramallah.
The Palestinian people are besieged.
Academic, freedom fighter, politician, negotiator, diplomat, she has witnessed and sometimes shaped almost every chapter of this story.
The young have decided that it is their day, and they are going to create a new and different dynamic. And I think they're doing it.
So you have this new and different dynamic, as you say. At the same time, the elections that were supposed to take place here in this month have been cancelled, have been postponed indefinitely. So how do you convert that new will, that new people power into political currency?
Exactly. I mean, that is the real challenge, and this is what we're talking about when we meet with the young people and with the new organizations and so on. The proposed elections, or the declared elections, ignited a sense of hope and participation.
A flowering of democracy.
Yes, people felt
but
now
frustrated because it's not taking place.
That's why now there was a sense of anger and of letdown building up along with the sense of anger at the occupation. The whole policy adopted by the PLO since 1988, the two-state solution, negotiated settlement, accepting Israel, being nice, proving that we're good little boys and girls, that we're not going to upset the apple cart anymore. This did not work. This only delivered more settlements, more land theft, more home demolitions, more killing. And Israel was able to trample on every Palestinian right and life, and to get away with it. So they said, your policy did not work. Your approach has proven to be a failure. We need a new one. And they thought elections would be the vehicle for change.
So is the new approach to this called Hamas?
I don't think so. I think many people look at Hamas as having done something about this. Hamas is, let's say, the antidote to a sense of helplessness.
I've known you, I've heard you for decades talking about this process. I've never heard you say this.
No, it's a new era. We will not lie down and die quietly. This is the message, and we have rights, and we will be recognized.
But do they have the stomach for more sacrifice? Will Israel truly recognize their right to self-determination? Will America and Europe stand by as Israeli settlements sprout illegally? The horizons here are crying out for answers. And for more on the deep roots of the latest violence in and out of Gaza and inside Israel's cities, you can listen to our latest episode of our podcast, The Forecast, Israel and Palestine, Old Grievances, New Unrest, available wherever you normally get your podcasts.